Welcome to Consecutive Interpretation Webinar 1. What you will first see in this webinar is a consecutive interpretation workshop that was taught to a live group of students. In consecutive interpretation, the person expressing the message and the interpreter take turns. When working in the consecutive mode, the interpreter may take notes to accurately remember the message and render it faithfully in the other language. The following are the subjects of the class. What exactly is note-taking for interpreters? A comparison between note-taking and shorthand. Optimal tools for note-taking for interpreters. How to get the best out of your Stenopad to save time. How to use your Stenopad to apply note-taking techniques. The following note-taking techniques: verticality, shifting, been there, done that line, connectors, the recall line, negatives and opposites, emphasis and repetition, the rubber band technique. Additionally, these note-taking symbols. Whenever the workshop students are assigned exercises to master note-taking, you will have the opportunity to do these practices as well. The following 3 materials will be necessary for the exercises, so please keep them handy. 1. A voice recorder. Any type will do, either cassette or digital. Remember that many handheld devices, such as cell phones or computer tablets, offer applications to voice record. 2. A 6 inches by 9 inches Stenopad. This is the optimal tool for interpreters to take notes. But if you don't have one, any notepad or sheets of paper will do. 3. 2 pens. Choose a couple that you're comfortable with to make sure you don't run out of ink. And finally, 4. A rubber band. This last tool will be useful, but is optional. When this section of the workshop and all its practices are done, you will take a 20-question multiple-choice quiz on the subjects covered. Interpretrain wishes you a great webinar, and we hope you train like you mean it.
This workshop is about consecutive interpretation, okay? That's what we're going to be working on today, on consecutive interpretation. Now, what are the things you need to be a good consecutive interpreter? Yes?
Good listener.
Good listening. You need to be able to be a good listener. Why? Why is it so important to listen? Yes?
If you cannot able to listen and soak into all that information, you will not convert that to the whatever your target language is.
Thank you. You need to be able to understand the information that you're working with. That's the number one thing for any mode of interpretation, is to listen. If you don't understand, you're not going to be able to render that message, no matter what your notes look like. Okay? So you need to be able to pay attention and to listen. What's the second thing you could do to get better at note-taking? Yes? Your memory. You have to develop your memory, okay? Your notes are just support. If you're not listening and you're not memorizing, your notes are going to be gibberish to you. It's happened to every one of us, right? You think you're taking such good notes, and you're so concentrated on your notes that when it comes time to render the message, you look at your notes and you don't know what the heck your notes mean, right? So we want to make sure that we're listening and we're paying attention and that we're doing the memory, active listening. We're going to go into listening in the afternoon. What else? So listening, memory, yes? That's what we're going to work on in the morning. Symbols, okay? We're going to work with symbols. Now, there's many verbs that we use constantly. Can somebody give me examples of verbs that come up in regular speech all the time? Sorry? to have, to take, to go, to get, to be, what else? To hear. So these are the words that we're going to have a symbol ready for. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to drill these symbols. But there's something that many people forget, and we're going to get into is the first thing we're going to do this morning, which are the techniques. Okay? The techniques. Now, there are two authors that are the fathers of note-taking for interpreters. Okay? The first one is Rozan. His name is Jean-Francois. This is the squiggly thing, Rozan. And the other one is Andrew Gillis. Has anybody ever heard of these two people? Yes. There's a book out there that everything that you need is actually in your notes. So you're not going to have any issues with this. You don't need to worry about that. It's in your notebook, okay, in your manual. Both of them have a book where they teach you how to take notes, and they teach you techniques. Now, this is what everybody was always thinking, symbols. I need to learn the symbols. But the techniques will save you a lot of time, okay? Jean-Francois Rozan and Andrew Gillis have developed note-taking techniques that will make your notes clearer to you and will make you save time. And that's what the first thing that we're going to do here today, okay? So, before we get onto those techniques, I want you to be able to learn how to use your notepad. So I want everybody to take their notepad, and everybody has a rubber band on their desk. Okay. I want you to open up your notepad, and in one flap, I want you to put your rubber band, as so. Okay? Everybody with me? On the back of one flap, you put your rubber band. Now, this is the proper way to use your notepad. Do you see how your steno pad is divided in half? Why is that? Thank you, Maria. You're going to first write on this side. When you're finished with this side, you're going to go on to the other side. Okay, now there's a reason for this, and we're going to look into that technique. It's called verticality. When you start writing vertically, there's all types of techniques that open up for you. Okay, so I want you to make a very big effort to write first on this side, and when you're finished, you write on this side. Now, what happens when you're done with this whole page? You would finish this side, and then you went on to this side, and you're done with this page. What do we do? Do I do this? No. I'm going to flip I'm done with this page, I flip it. And I don't use the back. I go to the next page. Why?
Because then more time, it consumes more time.
Thank you very much. It's less time consuming. Look at the difference. Every second counts. You know this, right? So if I'm writing here, I'm finished, and I go like this, it's not as effective as if I go like this. Okay? So you're only going to write on one part. You're going to write on this side, you're going to finish this side, you're going to start on this side. When you're done, you're going to flip the page, and you're going to start on this new page, not the back of the page. Now, what happens when I'm done with the whole thing? Then I turn the notebook, and I start on the back pages. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. Now, why is the rubber band such a cool idea? What do I do with this rubber band? You won't get confused, but why don't you get confused? What do you do with a rubber band? And then the judge says, okay, we're going to take a recess. Okay? Or if you're a medical interpreter, you finish that case. You're going to take your rubber band, and you're going to put it around the pages that you've already used. So even if you close your notepad, you immediately can go to the place. You don't have to make people wait for you to get to that place. Okay? Now, somebody was talking about crossing things out. Okay? That is a technique called been there, done that line. Okay? So this is what you do. I'm writing. The person stops talking, and I write a line right where the person stopped talking, I write a line. Now, why do I do that? Who can tell me why that line is a good idea? Yes? Okay, close, yes?
Separate the speaker from another speaker.
You're separating the chunks of speech. When the person finished talking, we write this line. Okay? This is key now. All right? Because sometimes if you don't write this line and then you interpret the speech and then you begin writing notes again, if you don't have this line, you don't remember if you already interpreted that or if you didn't. Has that ever happened to you guys? So you do the been there, done that line. Now let's talk about what to write with. What do you guys write with? What do you use to write? Pen. Why is a pencil not a good idea? It breaks. The point will break on you. What else? It's slower because it's not smooth on the page. Okay. What else? You can smudge it. Okay. So we want you guys working with pens. Everybody should have a pen on the table. Now, we're going to go on to looking at note-taking for interpreters. Now, in this class, we're going to call it NTI. Who can tell me what NTI stands for? Note-taking for interpreters. Okay, now, I want you guys to really understand what note-taking for interpreters is all about. Okay? Because some people don't understand just what you can do with NTI. And they're limited. It's like when you buy a VCR, when you buy a TV. You want to understand the capabilities of your equipment, what it can do, what this device can do. That's the same thing I want you guys to understand here. Note-taking is different from other forms of note-taking. Note-taking for interpreters is different. Now, what is the most popular note-taking system that you constantly hear about? Stenography, or what is it also called? Shorthand. Okay? Shorthand and note-taking for interpreters are two different systems. And I want to contrast these two systems before we get into the techniques so you understand what this can actually do for you. Okay? Now, shorthand. Okay? Who uses shorthand? Court reporters. Who else uses shorthand? Secretaries. Okay? The reason why I want to compare note-taking versus shorthand is because I want you to understand the true potential of note-taking for interpreters. Okay? There's so much you can do. There's so many liberties you can take. But remember how they say in most arts, before you can break the rules, you need to what? You need to know the rules so you can play with the rules and you can break the rules, okay? So you have to know what note-taking for interpreters does and how it's different from shorthand, okay? So let's begin with the first thing. Shorthand is what? Based on sounds. What does that mean, that shorthand is based on sounds?
Phonetics.
It's phonetics. Thank you very much. It's phonetics, okay? So a person who's a stenographer is going to be taking down what? Syllables that make up a word, okay? Now, interpreters, is our note-taking based on sounds? No. What is our note-taking based on? Very important. Is based on meaning. Okay? Because what is interpretation based on? Meaning. Okay? If I say in my other language, the judge says, it's not over until the fat lady sings. And I have to say that in my other language, into the target language. Am I going to take those words in the other language? In Spanish, it's not over until the fat lady sings doesn't mean anything. Okay? In many other languages, it doesn't mean anything. So what do I have to take from that idiom? The meaning. All right? So the person will be able to understand it. So I would have to say something like, it's not over until it's over. Okay? So interpreting is based on meaning. Okay, you're going to have to find the words to convey the same meaning. That's what we're working with here, not words. So note-taking is not based on sound, it's based on meaning. So much so that this is the symbol I use for door, and this is the symbol I use for close the door. Okay, look, close the door. All of that in one symbol. Okay? So I don't need to be based on sounds. It's based on meanings or concepts. What's the second difference between shorthand and note-taking? Yes, Carla? One single meaning. What does that mean? That shorthand has one single meaning. What does that mean? Who can help me out with that for one whole point? The symbols for shorthand are based on sounds. The symbols for note-taking are based on meaning. And then it says that note-taking is polysemic. What does polysemic mean? Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Give Elizabeth a point. It has different meanings. So, for example, this symbol, what does it mean? To want. What else does it mean? To love. What else does it mean? The heart. What else does it mean? If you're being fancy, if an attorney's being fancy, says, my client he doesn't want to say want, a higher register word. Desire. Emotions. What else? What is another fancy talk for want? Maybe expectations. What else? Wish. My client doesn't wish. My client doesn't desire. My client doesn't want to take this deal. Any of those could be represented by the heart. So one symbol is polysemic according to the context. Now, yes, Sophie.
If the sentence is really long and your memory is not there for you, and some days it happens, how would you know that it was wish versus desire or love versus want?
Give her a point for that question. That is an excellent question. How do you know if that has several meanings? How do you know what it is?
You have to have the context where you are, and then you have to follow what is happening.
Thank you. You have to pay attention. Okay? And this is very important here. The mistake that a lot of people make with note-taking is that they start paying so much attention to their notes that we're sacrificing the hearing and the listening and the meaning, okay? You should be paying 15% of your attention to the notes, or 10, and 85 to 90 on your listening. And if you're not, if you realize that your listening is that your notes are distracting you, what should you do? Put your pen down and listen, okay? Now, so to go back to that question, you want to make sure that when you take down the symbol, you remember if the lawyer said wish or if the lawyer said want. Some languages is going to make a difference, some languages not. But we should keep the register. If the lawyer is talking fancy talk, we shouldn't be talking street talk. The same thing. If the court user is talking street talk, it shouldn't come out into English as fancy talk. Okay? So you're going to have to remember that. But, very important, you're going to have to take turns. If you feel that the person is talking for way too long for you to be able to remember, what should you do? Thank you, Sophie. You should raise your hand. Okay? What happens if the person keeps talking? What if you put your hand up and you put your hand up and you put your hand up and it doesn't work? Yes, Leanne. Huh? You should yawn. Oh. Thank you very much, Leanne. Yes, give Leanne a point for that. You say, Your Honor, may the court please instruct the witness to pause more frequently, because testimony is evidence in a court of law. And we see the television shows and the detective shows, people take plastic bags and Ziploc bags for evidence. And so when you find a drop of blood on the floor, they take care of this evidence. And if they find a gun, it's such a delicate evidence. That's the same thing that happens with testimony. Testimony's evidence is just like a gun, is just like blood, is just like saliva. So we have to be very careful with this testimony. So if it's too much, we just say, put the hand up. Put your hand up. If the person's not responding, Your Honor, may the court please instruct the witness to pause more frequently. You don't want to chew more than you can swallow. Is that the expression? Bite off more than you can chew. Okay? All right. So one of them is one single meaning. The other one has different meanings per symbol. What is the next one? The next difference between shorthand and note-taking? Yes.
Shorthand is already standardized.
Thank you. Shorthand is standardized. Anybody who's going to look at that is going to know what that means, okay? But note-taking for interpreters is what? It's personal, okay? So that's, I want you to keep that in mind when we look at the symbols today, because I'm going to give you a whole bunch of symbols, and some of them you're going to say, you know what, Virginia? I already used that heart to mean want. So if I'm going to try to make it mean love now, it's going to confuse me. All I'm going to give you is suggestions for your symbols. And you are going to make them your own. If you already have a symbol for that, if that symbol doesn't elicit that, don't use it. Okay? Only use it if you think it's going to be helpful. One interpreter might use the heart for the physical cardio heart. The other interpreter might use it for want. So each interpreter's notes are individual, not standard. Now, let's look at what they write, what the two methods write. What does shorthand write? Every single word and sound. Okay? What do interpreters write down in note-taking for interpreters?
Keywords.
The keywords. Does that mean that we only interpret the keywords?
No.
What do we interpret? Everything. But your notes are just to support your memory. Okay? Now, if the witness says, the attorney asks him, what time did you get home the night of the crime? And you interpret that question. And the witness answers, I got home at 8. And the interpretation is, I got home at 8. What happened? Yes, Cynthia?
You lose first the style of speech.
Exactly.
Speaker.
We lost the style of speech.
And you also lose when the speaker misspeaks or is in doubt.
Exactly. Is it the same for the witness to say I got home at 8? Or if the witness says I got home at 8? What was lost in the interpretation? Yes, Tatiana. The hesitation and the doubt. So we're going to take the main notes down, but we're going to render everything. The notes are only supporting your memory, okay? Now, what to write? That's key. You get the verb. Usually the verb reminds you of everything else, okay? Sometimes it's not the verb. For example, in this, it depends on what's going to spark your memory. If I say the sentence, I went to Macy's and I bought a lot of dresses and shoes and jewelry. The jewelry was beautiful. And I also bought makeup. What are we going to write down? I went to Macy's and what are we going to write down? Give me an example of one word you would write down. Macy's. What else would you write down? Do we need bought?
Jewelry.
Dresses. Go ahead, Maria.
Dresses, jewelry, and makeup, but the jewelry was beautiful.
Exactly.
I remember the adjective there.
You might have to remember it, you might have to write it down. But we don't have to write, I went to Macy's. I bought a dress. All we need is Macy's, dress, shoes, jewelry, beautiful. Okay? Or a smiley face. And that should prompt your memory. If it says Macy's, I went to Macy's. If it says dress, I bought a dress. Do we have to write every little thing? No.
Depends on how you're feeling at that time.
Exactly.
Because you can say, I saw, not necessarily I bought.
Exactly. That's why you have to pay attention. Thank you,
He
Jackie.
took the dresses, he took, you know, it depends.
Yes. Thank you, Jackie, very much. You have to pay attention so you know what to write. But you have to select very well what you're writing. And one of the most important things is only write the key things that are going to elicit your memory. Don't write down everything because you're not going to be able to pay attention. Okay? Now, what is the next thing, what happens with shorthands? The next difference on page 35. Okay, shorthand writes symbols and numbers. And what about note-taking for interpreters?
Symbols, letters, words, numbers.
You use your note-taking to write symbols, letters, words, numbers, abbreviated words. It's much more flexible. Okay? It's way much more flexible than any other system. So, back to the example that we were talking about. I went to Macy's and I bought a dress and I bought shoes and I bought jewelry and the jewelry was so beautiful. What do I write down? Macy's, dress, shoes, jewelry, beautiful. Okay? Do I have to write dress, D-R-E-S-S? No. No, because I'm going to remember. If I'm not paying attention, I'm not going to remember. If I'm not paying attention, it could be my doctor's name is Macy's and she told me to shush because she likes jelly on her peanut butter. Okay? So you're going to have to pay attention. So those few little words or those few little letters mean a lot to you. But don't you think you have to write down the whole word or every single word? Only what sparks your memory. The less you write, the more you listen. So what we're going to learn here today is to write very, very little. Okay? Now let's go to page 36. Yes, question.
I wasn't able to see that symbol you put down for beautiful. What's that?
Beautiful, this is a happy face. And this can mean delicious, it can mean interesting, it can mean beautiful, depending on what the person said. But what are you doing? What are you doing? You're listening, so you're going to know what that means. Okay? Plus you're taking short chunks. Don't be a superhero. Another difference than on page 36. Shorthand writes how? Horizontal. And interpreters write how? Vertical. Remember our notepad. Remember? We're writing vertical. And why are we writing vertical again? It's easier to scan. And there's a bunch of techniques that we're going to get into that if you're writing horizontal, you're not going to be able to use those techniques. So I want you writing vertically, okay? And shorthand, the last difference is what? There's no time-saving techniques in shorthand, but in note-taking, you have a bunch of time-saving techniques that we're going to go into, okay? So is everybody ready to start with the first technique? The first technique is called shifting, okay? Shifting. And we already saw it a little bit here. What Rosanna and Gillis said was, you want to take down your notes, so when you read your notes, you know what is the main idea and what are the supporting ideas. Because one of the most important things are being able to weave your notes together. Sometimes you have all the elements there, but you don't know how to put them together to interpret. So this technique, shifting, is going to help you to know what belongs to what when a new idea comes along, okay? Now, shifting. Shifting is based on hierarchical, somebody help me out with that word? Sorry? Hierarchical values. It's a big word. What does this mean? There's more important ideas and there's supporting ideas. Okay? So look at this example. I went to Macy's, I bought dresses, I bought shoes, I bought jewelry, which were beautiful. What is the main idea of that sentence? If I get one word, if I could sum it up in one word, what would I say? Shopping. But in this case, it's Macy's. Okay? So the main idea goes to your left. When you have supporting ideas, you go down and to your right. So I went to Macy's. What did I buy at Macy's? Dresses and shoes and jewelry. Why is this happy face over to the right? Because it's complementing jewelry. Okay? It's complementing jewelry. All right? Yes. Okay, I went to Macy's and the dresses were not nice, but I bought shoes and the shoes were beautiful. Was that it? Nice. The shoes were nice and the jewelry what? Beautiful. So I went to Macy's, I looked at some dresses. They were not very nice, but I go back out because I'm not talking about dresses anymore. But I bought some shoes which were nice and some jewelry which were beautiful. Okay?
And then a plus sign.
You can do a plus sign, you could do a heart. Remember, polysemic. Anything that works for you, that's what you do. We're going to look at this a little more because that's the first thing we're going to practice. Thank you, Rodrigo. That's the first thing we're going to practice. Yes, Maria. Excellent question. Give Maria 2 points for that question. When you take notes, do you do it in the source language or do you do it in the target language? Answer. Yes, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, you do it however it works for you.
Thank you. 2 points for Elizabeth. What a brilliant class. You do it in whatever works for you. For me, I like the target language. Other people like the source language. Some people have a combination. Whatever works for you. Because who's going to look at your notes? You. I have a colleague who shall remain nameless. And this person's notes are the funniest thing. His notes literally look like this. And then he interprets. I went to Macy's and I bought a dress. I also bought some shoes, which were nice, but not as nice as the dresses. And then I bought the jewelry, which was beautiful. And you think, how the heck do you get that from that? To concentrate, he needs to doodle. Does it matter that he's doodling? When he speaks, he's interpreting accurately. That's all that matters. No judge is ever going to say, let me look at your notes. And if they do, guess what? They're not going to be able to read them because the notes are for your eyes only. So if you need to work in the target language, you work in the target language. If you need to work in the source language, you do that. If you need a combination, you do that as well. I went to the store, bought oranges, which were huge, apple, pears, and bananas. Then I went home to do the laundry, sweep, mop, and wash the dishes. I want everybody to try, on your notepads, to try shifting. Okay? Remember, the main idea to the left. Supporting idea, down and to the right. Down and to the right. Down and to the right. If there's something that supports the supporting idea, even more to the right. If there's something new, come back out to the left. All right? Everybody give it a try.
To do the following exercise, please get your pen, paper, and voice recorder ready. Then listen to the audio exercise while taking notes. Remember to focus on implementing the techniques covered so far. If you need additional time to complete any exercise, please feel free to pause the webinar and continue watching it once you have finished that particular practice. When the audio exercise is over, push the record button and start recording your rendition. Look at your notes and use them to read the message out loud, either by repeating it in the same language or by interpreting the message into another language. The choice is yours. When you have finished rendering the message, hit the stop button on your recorder. If you are using a cassette player, always record every dictation from the very beginning of the tape. Fully rewind the cassette after recording each exercise and after listening to it. This will help you go to the beginning of each recorded dictation much faster, so you can complete each practice within the time provided. The first practice is about to start. The only thing you have to do in this phase is listen and take notes. The exercise will begin now. I went to the store and bought oranges, which were huge, apples, pears, and bananas. Then I went home to do the laundry, sweep, mop, and wash the dishes. Push the record button and read your notes out loud into the voice recorder. The message that was contained in the exercise will now appear on the screen. Play your recorded rendition and compare it to the text. Count the amount of mistakes you made, if any. You will now observe a workshop student taking notes for this exercise.
Let's have a volunteer come up here for 3 points. We're gonna work for these prices over here. Yes, come up, Carla. And show us what your notes look like with shifting. Okay, now render that for us.
I went to the store and I bought oranges that were huge, apples, pears, and bananas. Then I went home and I did laundry, swept, mopped the floor, and washed the dishes.
Beautiful. Round of applause and 3 points for Carla. Excellent. Okay, now let's streamline these notes. Okay, let's streamline these notes. I went to the store and bought oranges. Beautiful. Oranges, O-R. That's enough to prompt your memory, okay? Now, do we need necessarily this symbol of bought?
No.
Maybe not. She wrote it, that's fine. But if you want to streamline it even more, you don't even need bought. Beautiful. Bought the apples, the pears, the bananas. And look what happened. She comes back out to the left. Why does home come back out to the left? Because that's not within the store. We're done with the store now. She's out of the store. We're going out to the left now. Whole new idea, the store. Now, why is this all under here in one thing and not over here and anywhere else? That's everything she got in the store. Look at huge. Look at how she did huge. Where is it? Next to oranges to the right, because it's complementing oranges. Okay? Now, this is what Rosanna Gillis called shifting. You shift to the right, you shift to the right, new idea, go back out to the left. Okay? And they talk about connectors. What are connectors, linguistically speaking?
They connect the two thoughts.
Yes?
They connect the two thoughts.
Connect two thoughts. Who can give me an idea of connectors or links?
Like but,
But,
because,
maybe, then, and, later. Huh? If. Now, let's get therefore, let's get a little fancy. Let's talk about lawyer talk. What are some connectors? Nonetheless, otherwise, furthermore, notwithstanding, in addition, okay? So all of these words usually come to let you know something new is coming, okay? So for example, if the attorney says, my client is a law-abiding citizen, he works full-time, he has 3 children, however, he's had some difficulty these years. However, something new is starting, something different. Back out. Okay? Who can render this one for me? Raise your hand for 2 points. Yes, Tatiana.
My client is a law-abiding citizen. He works full-time. He has 3 children. However, he's had some difficulties in the last year or years.
Beautiful. You see? That's shifting. You guys want to try it? Okay. This is what we're going to do. We're going to forget a little bit. Great work, Tatiana. She got her points? Excellent. We're going to work a little bit. That was 2 points for Tatiana. We're going to work a little bit on shifting, but we're going to take the idea, the variables of the concepts out of the picture. I don't want you to have to worry about concepts right now. I want you to just get used to the shifting, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to work with letters, we're going to work with states, we're going to work with numbers, we're going to work with punctuation. We're not going to worry about ideas, only the shifting technique. So it's going to sound something like this. It's going to sound a little crazy. For example, it's going to say, squares are 1, 2, 3, 4. Very, very 4. Triangles are 6, 7, 8, a little bit of 9, and circles are beautiful. Okay? We don't want you guys worrying about ideas. We're just going to worry about the shifting now. Okay? Everybody ready? First dictation. We're going to work first with letters of the alphabet and numbers. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Before I begin, did anybody notice what happened with the 4? Very, very, very 4. I underlined it 4 times. Does it make a difference? Very or very, very, very? Yes. It's important. If the person says, I am not, I repeat, not guilty, the interpretation should render the 2 negatives. Okay? The same thing. Very, 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 very. Okay? So we get how many times the person said very. Okay? We know we got to say it 3 times. Everybody ready? Let's do it. Very, very, very ready. A is 1, 2, 3, 4, and very, very, very 6. But B is 7, 8, 9, a little bit 9. However, C is 10, 11, 12, 13, and quite 14.
Push the record button and read your notes out loud into the voice recorder. The message that was contained in the exercise will now appear on the screen. Play your recorded rendition and compare it to the text. Count the amount of mistakes you made, if any. You will now observe a workshop student taking notes for this exercise.
Who wants to come up here and show me what you got for 3 points? Yes, Sophie. Beautiful, Sophie. Give Sophie 3 points. Now, speaking of hierarchies, what are the 3 highest hierarchical values in this dictation? The letters A, B, and C. And what is within the letters? We're shifting the numbers. And what is even shifting further to the right? The qualifiers. Okay? Beautiful work. There was one little omission.
Yes, I think,
5?
Yes.
Yes. And instead of however, it's what? I'm sorry, instead of but. Oh, it's but there and it's however here. Okay? Beautiful work though. You guys ready now to do another one? Shifting. Dictation number 2. And I see everybody's doing their been there, done that line, right? Excellent. Here we go. 1 has A, B, C, a little bit of D. Also, 1 has X, Y, and Z. Z has 100, 200, and sometimes 300.
Push the record button and read your notes out loud into the voice recorder. The message that was contained in the exercise will now appear on the screen. Play your recorded rendition and compare it to the text. Count the amount of mistakes you made, if any. You will now observe a workshop student taking notes for this exercise.
Who wants to come up here for 3 points and work for these lovely dictionaries that you're going to get at the end? Yes, come on up. Okay, beautiful. All right. She forgot what that stood for. Let's see if she'll remember once she renders it for it. Go ahead, render it for us.
Okay, one has A, B, C, a little bit of D. Also one has X, Y, Z. And Z has 100, 200, and sometimes 300.
Excellent. 3 points. 3 points. Anabel? Isabel. Isabel. Okay. Now, I want to show you guys a little trick. This little trick is called the recall line. Okay? We want to save as much time as possible. So, we already had one. In this case, one is not such a difficult thing to write, but sometimes we have a full name written out. Okay? For example, Virginia Valencia is tall, Colombian, and beautiful. Okay? And Virginia is also a teacher. I don't want to have to write all this down. So what do? I take Virginia and I grab it down and I draw a line. That's the recall line. It helps you recall without having to write it all over again. When could we have used the recall line on this one? On one. It's not a hard one, but let's say it was a long one. You drag it down and you say one. The key thing is where you put the end of the line, because you want the end of the line to show exactly where that's going to go. Okay? That's your recall line. Let's do another dictation. Okay? Let's do another dictation. Now we're going to work with states, and I want you to abbreviate the states. Florida is FL. California is New York is. That's what I want you to do. Okay? Here we go. California is A, B, C, a little D, and very E. On the other hand, Florida is F, G, sometimes H, and I. Finally, New York is J, K, no, not K, L, M, N.
Push the record button and read your notes out loud into the voice recorder. The message that was contained in the exercise will now appear on the screen. Play your recorded rendition and compare it to the text. Count the amount of mistakes you made, if any. You will now observe a workshop student taking notes for this exercise.
Who wants to come up and show it to me? Come up, Jackie, for 3 points. Right, try to write as big as you can so we can all see it. Okay, Jackie, beautiful. And she did her been there, done that line to know that we're done with this testimony up to that point. Go ahead, show us what you did. Tell us what you, first render it to us.
California is A, B, C, less D, a lot of E. On the other hand, Florida is F, G, sometimes H, and I. Finally, New York is J, K, no, not K, L, M, N.
Good work. Give Jackie 3 points. Excellent work. So check it out. California is A, B, C, a little D. Check out her a little. Yes?
Well, I think the way she interpreted is there's a less than, and that's a different meaning than little. So.
But note taking is
Semi, I know.
polysemic.
Yes.
So for her, that means a little.
Yeah, but she interpreted it as a less than.
Oh, did you really? Okay. But she's up here, and it's so hard to be up here in front of so many eyes, right? Okay. And very E. Okay? Very E. She underlined the very E. What is this? On the other hand. What is it you have written here? Por in Spanish. Like to say on the other hand. Okay? So on the other hand, okay? Florida.
Yes, that's my verb is.
That's her verb is. Okay? F, G,
Sometimes I.
sometimes H,
And
and I.
finally.
Finally, look at this symbol. I like this symbol a lot. This is a very cool symbol, okay?
Final.
This is the end. The end of the line. This is the beginning. Beginning, end. What verb can we get out of this? She used it for finally. But what verb can we get out of this one? To stop. To end. What else? To finish. How? To quit. How about nouns? What nouns can we get?
Termination.
The end, termination. What else? Over. Okay? Destination. Whatever sparks your memory. Okay? She used it for finally. Okay? Finally, New York is J, K. And then what happened with K?
Okay, you hesitated.
Exactly. So I corrected myself and I said what? Yes. So we wanted. So you might do this to emphasize it if you want to. Perfect, Maria. You can do this. No, 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 no. You're crossing it out 4 times because that emphasis is going to be important. Okay? So no, 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 and then L, M, and N.
The class portion of Webinar 1 has now concluded. Before taking the quiz, you will do 2 additional exercises. Since you've already had the opportunity to become familiar with the shifting technique, these last 2 exercises will not contain letters, numbers, or geometric shapes. They'll contain a message with real ideas. Try to abbreviate the words you hear and write down only the key units of meaning so you can keep up with the message. Listen to the following dictation and use your stenopad and your pen to take notes. The exercise will begin now. I went to California and saw Big Sur and the Golden Gate Bridge. Then I went to New York and saw the Statue of Liberty, which I loved, the Empire State Building, and the Brooklyn Bridge. Finally, I went to Florida and I visited Miami, Orlando, and Tampa. The Golden Gate Bridge was my favorite. Push the record button and read your notes out loud into the voice recorder. The message that was contained in the exercise will now appear on the screen. Play your recorded rendition and compare it to the text. Count the amount of mistakes you made, if any. You will now see a sample of notes based on the previous exercise. Look at your own notes and compare them to what is shown on the screen. Bear in mind that there is no correct or incorrect ways to take notes. As long as your notes serve their purpose of helping you recall the message, your notes have been taken down correctly. Before taking the quiz, you will do one final exercise to implement the note-taking techniques covered so far. So please listen and take notes. I went to the hair salon and got my nails and my hair done. Then I went home and prepared dinner. Finally, I watched TV for half an hour. Push the record button and read your notes out loud into the voice recorder. The message that was contained in the exercise will now appear on the screen. Play your recorded rendition and compare it to the text. Count the amount of mistakes you made, if any. You will now see a sample of notes based on the previous exercise. Look at your own notes and compare them to what is shown on the screen. You have now completed the class and exercises for this webinar. Congratulations for completing this part of the webinar. You have one more section to complete this webinar, the 20-question multiple choice quiz. Please answer each one of the following questions according to what was covered during the workshop. When this video is over, you will be able to take the quiz. Thank you for choosing InterpreTrain. We hope you have developed some useful new tricks and tips to become a better note-taker. To learn more on note-taking for interpreters and its uses in court, please watch the consecutive interpretation webinars 1 through 4. For more training tools, please visit our website at www.interpretrain.com. We wish you great success in your quest to become the best interpreter you can be.